Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to my show. On this show, I'll be going over all kinds of stuff like video games, cartoons, movies, music, mostly nerdcore, art, and etc. However, the main focus is probably going to be on video games. I'm Dan Luce, aka Pac-Dragon, and today we're here to talk about Pac-Man, more specifically, his bootlegs and clones. There's an unbelievable amount of them. So I'm focusing on the ones released in the arcades. What a perfect way to celebrate his 40th anniversary. Let's get started. To give you some background on this little project, I started working on it in August of 2019. I haven't been able to work on it enough to have it completely finished in time for Pac-Man's 40th anniversary. So what you're watching right now is what I consider to be episode 0.5 of my show. This is more of a sneak peek of the full video that's to come before the end of the year. I don't want to chop this up into pieces, so I'll knock it out in one big video. For now, I'm going to cover only a portion of the bootlegs that I plan to cover in the full episode. Let's begin! For this video, we're going to split up these games into 4 categories. Licenses. Okay, these aren't bootlegs at all. They're supposedly official licenses of Pac-Man that were published in other countries. I'll get to why I included these in a bit. Imitators. Games that are basically carbon copies of the original Pac-Man that change little to nothing about the game. Hacks. Games that are basically a skin of the original game, but sold as its own PCB or cabinet. And clones. Games that keep most elements from Pac-Man, but add new mechanics to make it original. Or at least different enough to keep them safe from lawsuits. Before I dive into this, let's just put up some pictures of the Japanese and American cabinets, just so we can see what the official ones look like. Also, as a disclaimer, there's some information I couldn't find on these bootlegs, and the information I did find might be inaccurate. Since these bootlegs aren't very popular, at least in the US, it's very hard to find a lot of information about them. We'll start off with the licenses. Again, I can't say that I'm 100% positive, but from what I found, these cabinets are official licenses of Pac-Man. However, the artwork is so off-putting that I thought they were bootlegs at first glance, which is kind of funny, because some of the bootlegs here actually look like they could be official licenses, but they aren't. Our first machine was published in Germany in 1980 by a company named NSM. The main detail that told me that this was an official license is the Namco logo on the marquee. I don't know of many bootlegs that deliberately include the original company's logo on the machine. That's doing a whole lot more than many of the other companies did for Namco's games in the US. The publishers would slap their logos all over the machines, and if they felt like giving any credit whatsoever, you would find the word Namco printed very small somewhere on the machine. Even though Namco's getting credit, it's unfortunate that it has to be on this machine. This artwork looks like garbage. The marquee just has a plain field with clouds and a not very good looking Pac-Man on it. The artwork on the rest of the cabinet looks like it was based on the Japanese artwork, but with some artistic interpretation. Not much else to say. I couldn't find much regarding the game inside of this cabinet, but from what I found, it's just the original Pac-Man, still in Japanese. This official license is from Irexa in Spain, released in 1981. Out of all the cabinets I've seen, this one's my favorite. To me, it's the best looking by far, even surpassing the Japanese and American originals. The artwork takes inspiration from the American Midway cabinet, but reimagines it in a more appealing way. Even the marquee is better. They added a nice border of dots and fruit, and the C in the Pac-Man logo has a little Pac-Man eyes. It's great. Judging by the ghost names on the cabinet being Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde, I would say that the board is also from Midway's Pac-Man. Another supposedly official license is by the company named Zakaria, released in 1982 in the UK, I think. In my opinion, the artwork here is significantly better than the NSM cabinet. It seems to fit the Pac-Man aesthetic much better with the maze, dots, ghosts, little Pac-Men, everything. It still looks more like a bootleg to me than an official license, but hey, the artist did a good job on this one. I believe this cabinet also contains the original board for Pac-Man. Here we have the license by Kenphone Electronics in Taiwan, released in an unknown year. From what I can tell, it uses official Pac-Man artwork that has been seen on flyers, but it doesn't directly copy the design from the original Japanese cabinet. They also dropped the ball on designing the marquee. Way to go, guys. The board is probably just the original Pac-Man as well. That's all of the licenses for now. Let's move on to the imitators. These cabinets make little to no effort to cover their theft. They usually have an unofficially translated version of the game. Other times, it's just the original board. Our first imitator is Croc-Man, released in France by the company René Pierre. From what I can tell, this is just the original game without any change. Let's start with the name. From what I learned, the name is derived from the French word croquer, meaning to crunch, so the name makes sense. As for the machines that I found, they look like they could have been official licenses, but I couldn't find anything that indicated that they were. So kudos to the cabinet designers on these. Except I'm not really sure why all the characters are replaced with robots. The artwork is good, but it just doesn't make much sense to me. Next is Pac-Man, released in Spain by Recreativos Franco, S.A. Now this is an unofficial Spanish translation of the game. The cabinet looks like it takes some inspiration from the artwork of the Japanese original, with some artistic liberties taken on the sides of the cabinet. The way the light shines off this thing makes it look like all the black lines were drawn in pencil. The best part of Pac-Man translations is seeing the ghosts' new names. I think now would be a good time to go over the names of the ghosts. On the attract screen for the game, the ghosts have their character name and a nickname. For instance, in Pac-Man, the names are Oikake, meaning chaser, Akube, meaning red guy, Machibuse, meaning ambusher, Pinky, Gimagure, meaning fickle, Asuke, meaning blue guy, and Otoboke, meaning stupid, and Guzuta, meaning slow guy. There's a dip switch on the original Pac-Man that, when flipped, displays alternate names for the ghosts. Urchin, Mackie, Romp, Mickey, Stylist, Mucky, and Crybaby and Mocky. When America got Pac-Man, these names were changed to Shadow, Blinky, Speedy, Pinky, Bashful, Inky, and Pokey and Clyde. The American nicknames are what became the Ghost's official names over time, and I honestly like these names the best. Now getting back to Pac-Man, the Ghost names are Espia, Tomate, Tramposo, Dientes, Estilista, Raki, and Lloron and Maki. Espia means spy, and Tomate means tomato, so I guess it makes sense because Blinky always chases after you and he's red like a tomato, so those names check out. Tramposo means a cheat, a cheater, or a trickster, and Dientes means teeth. For Pinky, she was named Ambusher because she attacks you from the front, so I guess she can catch you off guard, therefore she's tricky? That's me stretching as far as I could go for this name. Now, Teeth. Teeth? Where'd they come up with this name? Like, how? I have no explanation for why this is a thing. Estilista means stylist. For Inky, we have the literal Spanish word for his alternative character name. And Raki. Now, either they misspelled Mackie, which is Blinky's alternative nickname, or they're using the Czech word for seagulls. I think they probably just misspelled Mackie. Lloron describes one who is weepy, or a crybaby. For Clyde, we again have the literal Spanish word, but for this time it's for Clyde's alternative character name. And Maki, the Japanese alternative nickname. I tell ya, just the translations of the ghost names alone made this bootleg interesting. Other than that, there's not much else to say for Pac-Man. Here we have another Croc-Man, released in Spain, this time from the company Reben S.A. Okay, just look at it. Just why? There's an uncomfortable amount of tongues here. I mean, I know the game is about eating, but this just doesn't fit the aesthetic of the game at all. I mean, even the new name, again, is derived from the word coquille, meaning to crunch. so there should be teeth everywhere if anything. At least the marquee has letters that look like Pac-Man, but then you have this ugly sunburned man wrapping his tongue around the screen with saliva drops everywhere. Just ew. Just why? There's so many times when bootlegs just have some of the ugliest artwork I've ever seen in my life. Some of them are amazingly drawn and detailed, but they're just ugly. I'll never understand why choices like this one seemed like a good idea. As for the ghost names, we have Dragon, meaning guzzler, one who eats or drinks greedily, Goloso, meaning sweet tooth, or it could be interpreted as Italian for greedy, Gomilon, meaning eater, and Zampatero, meaning shoe. Now none of these names make sense to me. The only one that I could understand is Goloso, because pink could be associated with sweets. There's a general theme of eating and being greedy in most of the names, but Pac-Man's the one doing the eating, not the ghosts. Also, shoe? Shoe? These translations never cease to amaze me. Why in the name of everything awesome would they name one of the enemies shoe? I might be missing something, but whatever. Our next bootleg is Oh Dear God, Why? Behold this horrifying monstrosity. For some reason, Pac-Man has big lips, a tongue, and uvula with a set of green roller skate feet. Yeah, he's not wearing the roller skates, his feet are the roller skates. Why? Why roller skates? Why are his feet the roller skates? Why they have to make his feet the roller skates? And why they have to make his mouth so detailed compared to everything else? Why? There's very little information that I could find about this thing. I can't tell what this is. Judging by how the machine is the exact same shape as the Pac-Man machine, something tells me this might not be a bootleg at all, but rather the original cabinet. Let me explain. I read an article detailing the mystery behind this equally horrifying artwork of Miss Pac-Man. It surfaced on the internet and nobody knew where it came from. It was revealed that the cabinet was an original Miss Pac-Man cabinet with the artwork replaced. Now, why would somebody replace the original artwork for this horrifying one? Well, over time, with public use and movement of the cabinet around the arcade, the artwork is bound to be scratched, scuffed up, and worn out. To my knowledge, Midway and Namco weren't selling replacement artwork for worn-down machines, so other companies sold their own artwork for arcade owners to purchase. I'm guessing they made their own from scratch to avoid copyright/artistic infringement, but that doesn't mean they had to make this artwork so horrifying. The funny thing is that this artwork would actually be really good without this horrible Pac-Man. If they redid him to be just a sphere with no arms or legs, maybe the little Pac-Man eyes, with just a black mouth like this, no lips, tongue, or uvula, then this would be perfectly fine. Again, it amazes me that these artists finish their work and they're all like, yep, nothing's wrong with this. Ugh. Anyways, back to the cabinet. I found a picture of this cabinet, but with an interesting detail. The bezel was that of the original cabinet. That detail, along with the cabinet's shape, leads me to believe that what we see here is an original Pac-Man cabinet with the artwork replaced. Why does it say Puck-Man instead of Pac-Man? No idea. But that's just what I believe this horrifying monstrosity is, an artwork replacement kit. Our next imitator is Mighty Mouth, released in the US by the company A1 Machines in 1981. No one can seem to draw a simple Pac-Man with these machines. The Pac-Man here reminds me of the horrifying monstrosity, but with less detail and no roller skate feet. Also, the ghosts are portrayed as smaller white Pac-Man creatures with legs? They look like the little nipper plants from Super Mario, but with legs. Again, why can't people just draw a simple ghost? Now here's an interesting fact about this imitator. This one isn't a translation. It's simply the Pac-Man board repackaged and sold by A1 Machines with no alterations to the game whatsoever. Interestingly, this one seems to be the only imitator that caught Midway's attention. A1 Machines was taken to court by Midway, where Midway won the case. I would love to go more in-depth with this, but that's for the full version of this episode. Okay, next we're moving on to the hacks. These usually just change up the maze and the characters, but everything else is pretty much the same. This particular one seems to be one of the most well-known hacks of Pac-Man. It's Hanglyman by the company Nitto. Literally the only thing that's changed is the maze. You have not one, not two, but 3 escape tunnels. Other than that, the maze is nearly identical to the original, with small edits here and there. Also, the name Hanglyman came from the horrible mangling of the word hungry to form the English word hangly. So this hack was supposed to be called Hungry Man. The more you know. The next hack is a pirate-themed skin of the hack New Puck X, called Buccaneer by the company Bucko. So we're already getting hacks of hacks, huh? Dear lord. We've got colorful skulls instead of ghosts, named Bones, Mad Dog, Scarhead, and Crow. Are those seriously the best names they could have come up with? Like no other pirate or skeleton/skull themed names came to mind? Whatever. And we got our Pirate Man to replace Pac-Man. When I played through this game, I found myself interested, confused, and disturbed by the last cutscene. Instead of the ghost lump crawling across the screen, we get this. What is that? It's like a long sword made out of a flesh spaghetti noodle that's been twisted up into a pretzel. I have no idea what the heck this thing is supposed to be. It could be a sword stuck in a rock, but then why would the blade and the rock be the same fleshy color? Whatever, let's move on. Next, we have Ultra Pac-Man, included in the Super ABC kit made by the company 2-Bit Score in 1999. This hack is nothing but a weird color swap of the original Pac-Man. I have no idea what the goal was here. Again, same game, same maze, plus a few extra ones. But this time, we've got some different ghost names. Monster, 99, Y2K, 2000, Millennia, 2001, and Virus Bug, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Looks like we have a very strong general theme of late 90s computers. For this game, you got a bunch of different mazes that changes every few levels before looping back to the original Pac-Man maze. Also, as a little side note, I actually got kind of freaked out by something in this game. In the attract screen demo, an item appears that looks like it's supposed to be some sort of moth, but I could tell they just recycled the last few frames of Pac-Man's death animation and colored it pink. Once collected, you receive a free game. Knowing what I knew, all I saw was a completely silent demo screen showing me a Pac-Man eating the dying corpse of a pinkish Pac-Man that was having a seizure to get a free game. From what I've read, it's supposed to be a butterfly, but to me it's still freaky, especially since the bonus items in Pac-Man don't have any frames of animation. That's it really. Other than the fact that the ghost named Y2K really gives away the year this was released without having any prior knowledge. This one is another hack of a hack. Caterpillar by the company Fee. This one takes the maze from Hanglyman but makes it red, turns Pac-Man into a cute little caterpillar, and the ghosts into colorful spiders named Harry, Sabina, Charlotte, and Webster. Finally, good names for the enemies that actually make sense with their context. Good job, Fee. Most bonus fruits have holes in them, which I believe is a reference to the very hungry caterpillar. And then there's the bell, which looked like somebody scribbled on it with an 8-bit Sharpie. The apple kinda looks a bit messed up too, but not as much as the bell. The cool thing about this hack is that it was released as its own arcade cabinet. Isn't that neat? And it has really good artwork. Man, Fee really put some effort into this hack. Granted, they are making money off of other people's ideas, but at least they tried to make this one their own by adding their own original flares. Now, I have a personal connection with this hack. This is Ghost Muncher Uni-Wars from Australia and New Zealand by the company Leisure and Allied in 1981. I first found this thing on YouTube years ago, and it interested me. I didn't completely understand bootlegs and hacks when I first came across this thing, but all I knew was that this wasn't official. But it looked and sounded cool. Okay, well, it sounds absolutely terrible, but in a cool way, you know? I never would have imagined Pac-Man sounding like this. The reason why it looks kinda glitchy and sounds so off is because this game doesn't run on the original Namco Pac-Man hardware. It runs on Namco Galaxian hardware. Yep, a completely different setup. Isn't that interesting? I'm guessing it was made to run on Namco Galaxian to recycle the Galaxian hardware that was no longer wanted due to Pac-Man and Galaga becoming more popular. This time around, the ghost names are Casper, Igor, Festus, and Jasper. Casper's my favorite. It's probably because of the pink and blue eyes. I think the pink maze is another reason why I'm drawn to this hack so much. Interestingly, this hack was released as its own cabinet, just like Caterpillar. These were the only images I managed to find of the cabinet, but comparing the control panel of this cabinet to an undamaged control panel, I can see that this is Ghost Muncher Uniwars. Lastly, we have the clones. These games are similar to Pac-Man, but they have their own original mechanics. Up first, we have Lock and Chase. It comes from Japan, developed by Data East, published by Data East in Japan, and Taito in the US, and it was released in 1981. In this game, you play as a thief that has infiltrated a bank, and your goal is to collect all of the gold coins while avoiding getting caught by the police officers. Your method of defense is creating doors to block police officers from catching you. Also, there is a bag of cash that appears in the middle of the screen. If you manage to collect it before it disappears, all of the police officers will freeze in place for a few seconds. There are also secondary bonus items that are this game's bonus fruit. They appear in the middle of the screen and you just collect them for bonus points. Like the bonus fruit, they also represent what level you're on. After you collect all of the gold coins, the level doesn't end. You have to make your way out of one of the two exits without the police officers catching you to advance to the next level. Now let me introduce the police officers. We have Stiffy, Smarty, Scaredy, and Silly. I can see that they were trying to pull off the Blinky Pinky Inky thing with the names here. They all start with an S and end with a Y. Not as catchy as the ghost names, but I guess it works well enough. My conclusion? It's pretty fun, but also very difficult. Since there isn't a true form of power pellets here, avoiding enemies becomes very difficult. The doors only appear in certain spots, and I still haven't gotten the hang of it. But overall, I'd say that this is a good clone. My favorite part of the game is how adorable the thief looks when he celebrates. The last game I'll be talking about for now is Ladybug from Japan by Universal, released in 1981. You are a ladybug in a garden, eating up all of the flowers. You must eat all of the flowers while avoiding poison, represented by skulls, and other bugs. Your defense mechanism against the enemy bugs is the ability to flip the movable doors vertically or horizontally. The poison is also effective on the enemy bugs. If they run into the poison, they are sent back to the middle of the screen. There is a timer in the form of a colored border around the playfield. Every time the entire border changes color, one of the 4 enemy bugs is released from the center of the screen. If you stay on one level long enough for all 4 enemy bugs to leave the center, you will be able to reach the bonus item that they were hiding. If you manage to get it, a jingle will play and the enemy bugs will be frozen for a few seconds. These are basically the bonus fruit from Pac-Man that serve the same purpose as the bag of cash from Lock and Chase. There are also little color changing circles that serve different purposes depending on what color they are when you pick them up. If you pick up the circle containing the letters that spell special when they are red, you earn a free game. If you pick up the circles containing the letters that spell extra when they are yellow, you'll get a little break showing that you've got an extra life. If you collect the circles with hearts when they are blue, you'll fill up the multiplier, which will multiply the points you earn by 2, 3, and 5. Each level contains its own bonus item and enemy bug. For instance, level 1 has a cucumber as its bonus item and 4 beetles as its enemies. Level 2 has an eggplant for the bonus item and 4 ants as its enemies. And this continues until the enemies are cycled through and the bonus item remains to be a horseradish. Now this clone is the most interesting to me, and the one I'm most skilled at. There are a lot more distinct enemies and bonus items here than in Pac-Man. Let's take a look at all of the enemies first. I had to guess what the bugs were supposed to be since all of the manuals I found just referred to them as enemies or enemy bugs. For level 1, we have a beetle. Level 2, we have an ant. Level 3, we have a praying mantis. Level 4, we have a dung beetle. Level 5, we have a rhinoceros beetle. Level 6, we have a bee. Level 7, we have what the heck is this thing? Like, I seriously can't figure out what this bug is supposed to be at all. It looks like 2 cocoons are connected together at the bigger end, and each cocoon has one huge horrifying eyeball on it. Jeez. I'm referring to this one as an abomination. You know, the thing that makes this even more horrifying is that thanks to it being on level 7, the enemies move a lot faster. So this thing's hunting you down like no one's business at Mach speed. Truly terrifying. Anyways, level 8, we have a caterpillar, and level 9 starts to cycle through the enemies. The 4 bugs for level 9 are the beetle, ant, praying mantis, and dung beetle. The 4 bugs for level 10 are the ant, praying mantis, dung beetle, and rhinoceros beetle, and so on. Let's move on to the bonus items. For level 1, we have a cucumber. Level 2, we have an eggplant, which is separated into 2 words for some reason. Level 3, we have a carrot. Level 4, we have a radish. Level 5, we have parsley. Level 6, we have a tomato. Level 7, we have a pumpkin. Level 8, we have a bamboo shoot. Level 9, we have a Japanese radish. Level 10, we have a mushroom. Level 11, we have a potato. Level 12, we have an onion. Level 13, we have a Chinese cabbage. Level 14, we have a turnip. Level 15, we have a red pepper, spelled with 2 P's instead of 3 for some reason. Level 16, we have celery. Level 17, we have a sweet potato. Level 18, we have a horseradish. And the rest of the levels just have horseradishes. I'd have to say, this is my favorite game out of these bootleg/clones by far. Not only does it have the most original concepts, but it also plays into my interest for bugs. So I give this one the Pac Dragon seal of approval. Well, that's all the time I have to talk about bootlegs for now. There are so many more bootlegs that I have found and researched, but I'm saving those for later. And I'm gonna be real with you guys. I wish I was the ultimate expert in everything Pac-Man, but that I am not. A lot of this information is from what I could find on the internet. There's a chance that I get some things wrong about these bootlegs, as the information about these games are scarce. And it's kinda hard to fact check this information when barely anybody else knows about these games. If anybody wants to tell me more about these bootlegs, like something I missed or something I got wrong, please let me know. I'd love to get any information I can about these games. Anyways, I want to end this video with an open letter to Toru Iwatani, the creator of Pac-Man. I don't know if anyone watching this has any connection to him, but if you do, please forward this message to him if you can. Hello, Mr. Iwatani. I just wanted to say thank you so much. Your game has brought me so much joy almost since I was born. It was my favorite game growing up, and it's still my favorite game now. It led me to the entire world of gaming. Not only that, though I'm pretty sure you're already aware, Pac-Man has helped shape the gaming industry into what it is today. I mean, just look at the number of people who copied your idea. If I were in your position, I wouldn't even know what to feel. I know they say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but they were getting money from their imitation. Either way, I wanted to also congratulate you for creating something that has managed to stay relevant in people's minds for 40 years. That's insane! Getting new games here and there, 2 TV shows, multiple ad cameos, and even a playable character in the most popular fighting game of all time. I'm focusing a bit too much on Pac-Man. Your other contributions to the world of video games are amazing as well. GB, Bombi, QDQ, Pole Position, Super Pac-Man, Pole Position 2, and Libble Rabble. I'll be honest though, I don't like pole position that much. It's probably because I suck at it. And since I never played on an original arcade machine, it took me 17 years to find out that there was a second freaking gear. I'm getting sidetracked. I really hope you're doing well. I'm sad to say that I'll probably never get the chance to thank you in person. I just wanted to see if this letter could reach you somehow through the power of the internet. I hope you'll see this someday and know of my gratitude. Sincerely, Dan, Pack Dragon, Loose. Hello, people of the internet. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. If you found this interesting, stay tuned for the full episode to hopefully be released before the end of 2020. Special thanks to my buddy Ringo Starr over at DeviantArt. He helped me out with the game logos. The intro music for this video is a Pac-Man remix by Take. And again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see y'all next time.